Hey there, Blender users and Modo users. I want to start off by apologizing to all the Blender users out there. I'm about to embark on a journey to create something in Blender, and let me tell you, it's going to be a wild ride. I must confess, I have no idea where even the most basic tools are located in Blender. Today, I'm going to attempt to create a gun. Brace yourselves, because I have a feeling it's going to be a painful experience for both me and all of you watching this video. About 8 years ago, I dabbled in opening Blender out of sheer curiosity. However, I only spent a few minutes exploring it. So, whether you believe it or not, this video is pretty real, guys. I just feel like a square peg. Today, I want to share this experience with you. Who knows, maybe one day I'll dive back into Blender or leave it behind forever. Just like in Modo, I simply dragged my reference image into the Blender viewport. However, to my dismay, the image didn't quite project correctly and it wasn't even centered. It seems like I might have imported it into the wrong view. Time to figure out the right way to import the image and get it positioned perfectly. I don't know what this icon is, but I do want to put it aside, folks. Let's put it here. It's always around! Okay? Before diving in, I think it's important to understand how to navigate effectively in Blender. Not a clue how to achieve that, guys. There are navigation-style presets that make transitioning between different 3D packages a breeze. However, I couldn't seem to locate them in Blender. So, I'm going to explore how to navigate in Blender using the default settings. I just discovered how to zoom in and out. Simply use the Control key along with clicking and dragging the middle mouse button. However, it doesn't really zoom the way I would like. I'd like to zoom in on the selected item. I guess there must be an option for that. Okay, I'll check it later. Let's go ahead. This icon is always around. It often sticks on my cursor, not a clue. Oh, after clicking on frame selected, I am now able to zoom on my selection. I just discovered a neat trick to pan my scene. By simply clicking the middle mouse button and dragging while holding down the shift key, you can easily pan around. It's fantastic. In Modo, I'm used to simply holding down the Alt key to pan, rotate, or zoom in and out. It's a bit of a hassle for me here, but I guess I'll have to get used to it. Now, I am simply trying to figure how to effortlessly cycle through the views in Blender. I guess I will have to search in the View menu, right? I am still not able to zoom at my selected item. Let me check the preferences. I'm searching for something similar to zoom direction, zooming at the mouse cursor, or anything like that, folks. Oh, I'm really excited to switch this one to horizontal. That's exactly how I set it up in Modo. I also found the option which allowed to zoom at my mouse position. Fabulous. Look at this button. I can also save my preferences. Let's save them. Fantastic, guys. Now I can rotate the viewport, pan, zoom in and out, all at my mouse cursor. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Okay, let's move on. I just want to go to the right view, folks. I think I need to be in that view to import my reference. As I do in Modo, I'll drag and drop it. I can't see it. Maybe it's behind the cube. Let me re-import it, guys. Just bear with me for a moment. I need to jog my memory on how to navigate to the correct view. Okay, let's drag and drop it from the right view. Oh, there it is. I made it, folks. The next challenge is to figure how to move this image at the center of my scene, using the snap system, possibly. I want it to snap at the origin. Looking for a way to activate the grid snap feature? Maybe this one, guys. No way. Let me check here, guys. It must be this one. Well, that's quite frustrating for me, folks. I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of clicking on a button. Oh, I got it. This one may be a bit tricky to spot, guys. It's kind of blending in, isn't it? Sorry about that. I just noticed this tiny button here. It's working fine now. Alright, so I've got the move tool, the rotation tool, and the scale tool all set up on the left side toolbar. That should be enough to kickstart the modeling process. Shall we give it a try? Roll up your sleeves, guys, because this might just be the most frustrating experience you've ever had. If you feel like throwing in the towel and shutting down the video, I totally get it. I just wanted to take a shot at creating the frame of this Beretta M9. Just deciding where I should start from, folks. I'd better scale it down a bit. Anyone knows where the freeze scale command is hiding? I'm not going to bother looking for it right now. Alright folks, let's pick up the pace a bit. I'll be searching for the loop tool or any other tool that will help me cut this cube in half. I guess it's time to switch over to component mode. That's what I need to do to tweak my mesh in Modo. Oh, edit mode. I got it, folks. I want to cut this cube, and I suppose I need to use the loop cut tool, right? Yeah, let me give it a try. A tooltip's telling that I need to press Shift plus spacebar. Oh, what a nice drop down. But I am looking for the edge slice tool, buddy. There I have it. Wow, just click on it and drag the loop wherever I want. Nice. Alright folks, I've sliced the cube, and now it's time to release the tool. I'm tapping the spacebar, just like I usually do in Modo. However, the tool doesn't seem to want to let go. I'm hitting enter now, no way! When I press the spacebar, something seems to happen up here, but I suppose it's just the timeline. I can't really figure how to drop the loop tool. It's insane. I really apologize, folks, I told you. It's a nightmare for me, folks. That's a demon. Do I simply have to change tool? Something's still running up there, and it makes me so anxious, folks. I just can't drop it. Oh God, I pressed the G key and I was finally able to drop the slice tool. It was just a nightmare to me. Okay, whatever, I made it. Now let me delete half of the cube. Am I supposed to press the delete key? Oh yeah, another drop-down menu. Oh, a requester's letting me decide what I want to delete. Delete faces, buddy. There we are. We're making progress here, guys. Alright, let's move on to beveling these two edges. I just want to give them a nice round shape. The bevel tool? It should be somewhere here in the toolbar. Please, let me see you, please. Oh, thanks to God, here it is. What a lovely yellow handle. I'm just going to select both edges. Instead of that, I'd prefer to simply click and drag in the viewport to bevel my edges out. It would be much more efficient, don't you think? Maybe there is a way to achieve that, but I can't seem to figure it out. Sorry to all you Blender users out there, but I am so deeply immersed in Modo that even the simplest task in Blender feels like a nightmare to me. I am trying my best. I really am. Finally, I was able to bevel it out, folks. Alright, let's kick things off by selecting this face and giving it a nice extrusion. This will help us create the initial part of the frame. What's happening in there? I just want to extrude it. Or simply translate it. Oh gosh, I am pressing the W key all the time. Instead, I am supposed to press the G key, right? Oh, it jumped to a perspective view. Sorry about that. Let me switch back to the right view. Hang in there, guys. I am getting the hang of it. Now extrude it and pull it down. Extrude it and pull it down. Extrude it. Extrude it. Extrude it. Pull it down. I am getting it. Now, let's rotate the loops to create a nice curvature, folks. And there we go. Now, it's time to flatten it out. Usually, I scale these loops in Modo. Should I follow the same process here? Oh, it's going negative. I'll just type 0 here. Yeah, that's a nice touch. Let's try shifting these polygons to the left just a tad. It doesn't seem to select through my mesh no matter how many combinations I've tried. It's not as rounded as I would prefer, but I guess you're thinking it's best to leave it as is, right? Let's get rid of those polygons. To do that, simply hold down the Shift key for multiple selection, I guess. I'm starting to get the hang of it, folks. Just hit delete and instruct Blender to remove the faces. Let me go to the right view. Alright, here's the plan. I'm going to select the loop at the top and pull it up to align it with the bottom of the slide assembly, folks. Just give me a moment to do that. Please be patient. I'd like to only extrude these edges, folks, but Blender's extruding the entire loop, not a clue. Why you're doing this? Blender does hate me. I totally get it, buddy. Oh my god, that's frustrating, folks. I am only selecting the edges at the top, but it keeps extruding the whole loop. Alright, Blender, you win. I give in. I'll just delete the polygons that you're so eager to create. Deleted. Are you happy now? Alright, let's move on. Good. Now, let me extrude these loops, please. Oops, Control Z. Will I ever be able to do that? Okay, what if I press the Y key? Oh yeah, the loop is constrained along the Y-axis. Fantastic. Let's add a few loops here to create a more even topology. Just use the loop cut tool and click multiple times. It's as simple as that. Wow. I'm getting used to it, folks. I'll be able to teach Blender 2 very soon. Let's press the G key for the Move tool and align these points to the reference image. At least that's my plan. I absolutely love working in Blender, guys. It's such a fun and creative software to use. But hey, let's be real here. I don't think I'll be breaking any world records with my one-day experience so far. Okay, let me flatten this loop. Oops. Let's scale it along the Z-axis. I'm not quite sure how to stop it from going into the negative values. In Modo, there's an option for negative scaling, but I can't seem to find it in Blender. Let's just input 0 here. Voila. I'm sure this option is located somewhere here, folks. Anyway, let's go ahead and extrude this edge as well. Oh, it looks like I will need to use the Merge tool to connect these two vertices. Let me locate it. Select both vertices. I'm searching for something along the lines of merging, combining, or even collapsing, folks. How should I merge both verts together? Not a clue. Right-click will bring up this menu. Let me go through it, folks. Oh, there it is. Merge vertices. I made it. Let's click on this one. It's not working. Why is that? Let me do that again, folks. Maybe should I tell Blender at last selected? Yeah, that's right. We seem to be making progress. Alright, at this stage, I'd say let's mirror it, guys, but it's easier said than done. I'm completely clueless on how to achieve that. Let's explore our surroundings and see if we can find the mirror tool. I got it, folks. Here is the mirror tool. Let me click on X Global. That should work. What's this? It simply flipped the frame. That's not the mirror tool. Let's do that again. Oh my gosh, there we are again. Alright folks, no more wasting time here. Let's head over to YouTube for a quick and easy check. Come along with me. Let me quickly search for a video tutorial on how to use the mirror tool in Blender. Oh, I've got it. I just need to add a modifier. Can you believe it, folks? Just need to throw in a mirror modifier. Alright, let's jump into Blender and get that done. This version differs from what I saw on YouTube, folks. This is, I guess, what they call non-destructive workflow, right? Yeah, that's a mirror, guys. I suppose I can also disable it, or even apply it. How can I apply it? As you can see, I just tend to apply this modifier, as I am more into direct modeling. That's what I do in Modo. Simply mirror along the chosen axis. Even though Modo offers one of the most advanced non-destructive workflows, I prefer to streamline my process by directly modeling. Alright folks, I made it. And now let's bridge both loops. Another marathon? Wow. Is there by any chance a bridge modifier? Let me figure that out. Oh, the bridge tool is right here. Why it's not doing what it's supposed to do? Obviously, I am doing something wrong, folks. I know. I apologize for this attempt. I'm not entirely sure about the outcome. To be honest, it might not be achievable within a reasonable time frame, folks. Just being honest here. That's really disappointing. What's wrong with it? Oh my god. Everything I attempt always feels like such a challenge to me. Let me check on YouTube, folks. I wonder if I should apply the mirror modifier. Well, let's do that, and check the bridge tool once again. Transitioning to another 3D software is no walk in the park, folks. I still find myself wondering, why am I putting myself through this? I'm feeling so embarrassed right now. Anyway, if I recall well, from here I should be able to apply it. Good. I applied the mirror modifier. Let's perform the bridge tool again, folks. Edge menu, bridge edge loops. Oh, bingo. I finally was able to bridge them. Not sure if the process was correct. Anyway, I made it. I'd like to crank the curvature up though. In Modo, I can play around with the tension parameter, what it is called in Blender. I am curious. Perhaps curvature? No idea, guys. Let me select these edges and I'm gonna simply pull them backwards, folks. Looks like I will have to dive headfirst into a sea of Blender tutorials. My plate is definitely full with this one. But hey, live and learn, right? I've been pondering a lot about diving into Blender, and I even considered giving Maya a shot. But to be honest, folks, I find it all quite intimidating. It feels like a total nightmare. Look, I am not really able to select through it, just select the vertex in the front. In Modo, I just middle mouse click and drag to select through a mesh. But in Blender, it seems I can't figure it out. Guess what? Let me check on YouTube, folks. One thing I absolutely adore about Blender is its incredible simulation capabilities. Recently, I came across some mind-blowing add-ons for Blender that truly left me speechless, folks. Let me figure how to select occluded components in Blender. Oh, did I understand correctly? I have to change the style view to select through my mesh. That's quite unusual to me, folks. I am wondering why I need to switch over the X-ray mode to be able to select the occluded components. There must be another way, for sure. However, I'm not going to search for it now. Okay guys, I am going to extrude this guy. I'll speed up the video a bit. I understand that you're feeling incredibly bored right now, so I'll do my best to keep this brief and painless for you. There we have it. A 10-minute task that ended up taking me a whopping 2 hours in Blender. Honestly, it's not really my thing, folks. Well, I've decided not to delve any deeper into modeling, as it seems like it would just be a massive time sink, you know? However, after careful consideration, I would answer the question, which 3D package should I start with? So, you're on the hunt for the perfect 3D software, huh? With a sea of options out there, finding the one that ticks all your boxes can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. First things first, think about what you'll be using the software for. Are you into animation, game design, architecture, or something else entirely? Different software is tailored to different purposes, so knowing your end goal is key. Next, consider what each software specializes in. Some are great for character modeling, while others excel in rendering or sculpting. Make sure the software you choose aligns with your specific needs and skill level. Don't forget to take into account the user interface and learning curve. You don't want to spend more time figuring out how to use the software than actually creating your masterpiece. Check out reviews and tutorials to get a feel for how user-friendly and powerful each software is. Hearing from other users can give you valuable insights that might sway your decision. Blender 3D and Modo 3D are both powerful tools for 3D modeling and animation, but they have some key differences that set them apart. Blender 3D is known for its robust feature set and active community of users. It's a free, open-source software that is constantly being updated and improved by developers around the world. Blender is great for beginners and professionals alike, offering a wide range of tools for modeling, sculpting, texturing, rigging, animation, and more. It also has a built-in game engine and video editor, making it a versatile choice for all kinds of projects. On the other hand, Modo 3D is a commercial software developed by Foundry. It's known for its intuitive interface and powerful modeling tools. Modo is often favored by artists and designers for its ease of use and flexibility. It excels in areas such as animation, modeling, sculpting, rigging, painting, UV mapping, and rendering. It's a popular choice for creating high-quality assets for games, films, and animations. In summary, Blender 3D is a free, feature-rich software with a strong community, while Modo 3D is a commercial tool known for its user-friendly interface and powerful modeling capabilities. Both have their strengths and weaknesses, so the choice between them ultimately depends on your specific needs and preferences. As for me, folks, I'm pretty sure I'll be back to Modo.